Welcome, professional wrestling fans, to the PW Fan Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things in the world of pro wrestling. I am your host, collector, barber, and musician, Talk Wrestling, Tim Gilbert, and this is episode 169.
And I'm your host, the architect of Pro Wrestling Podcast, Andy.
Well, Jeremy should be joining us here shortly. But before we get started on this week's episode, please go to youtube.com/the PW Fan Pod. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. And, interact with us, like the videos, comment, all that good stuff. All other social media, look up at the PW Fan, mostly on TikTok and Instagram. And for all t-shirts, go to prowrestlingtees.com/the PW Fan. All right. Andy, what do you got for episode 169, my friend?
All right, this week we're going to be talking about that Cody Rhodes and John Cena segment from Raw. Going to be talking about CM Punk, I guess you could call it cashing in his favor from Paul Heyman.
And finally know what it was.
And then AEW Dynasty from last night is how we'll be ending the show, and more. But yeah, let's get right into it. Starting with, what do I got here? Dynamite. AEW this week was go home shows. Starting with Dynamite, opening contest was Willow Nightingale teaming with Swerve Strickland in a mixed match tag against Marina Shafir and Jon Moxley. Winners were Willow and Swerve. Afterwards, Mox hits his finisher on Willow, quote unquote, accidentally. Which you don't really see that often. I think last time I really saw it was when Randy Orton RKO'd at Nia Jax in the Royal Rumble a couple of years ago. We had Toni Storm defeating Penelope Ford, who has been Megan Bain's, you could say, henchwoman lately. Then we had a segment with Bobby Lashley and MVP. MJF would come out before they could even talk. He's still trying to join the Hurt. I almost call them Hurt Business, Hurt Syndicate. But Bobby still does not want him in there. On their way out, Big Bill and Brian Keith would be coming out for their match, which ended up being a squash match. And Big Bill was on the mic looking at MVP and Bobby, saying that they want the tag team titles.
How are you feeling about the Hurt Business in AEW?
Hurt Syndicate?
Well, you know.
Yeah, same.
Well,
same,
you know.
Same. No, I mean, I like them. I like the seriousness of them.
Right.
I mean, I always liked the whole group in WWE, so they just brought it over. I thought it was working WWE. I don't know why they stopped it, but
I mean, I think it's one of the better things on the show right now, to be honest with you.
And there's a lot of bad things on the show.
All right, take it easy.
Dude, I got some problems today with AEW, all right? I do. We had Mercedes Moné backstage with Renee. Harley Cameron comes up and she wants to team with her. Once enemies, now she wants to team with her. Will Ospreay and Kevin Knight would team up and defeat Blake Christian and Lee Johnson. Will Ospreay and Kevin Knight were supposed to have a match at Dynasty, which they did, which we'll talk about. But for Dynamite this past week, they were on a team. Brody King would defeat Lance Archer. And Cope defeats Claudio Castagnoli. That was the main event match, but the show actually ended with Swerve Strickland backstage. They kept checking in with him to see how Willow's doing. During a quick interview, Hangman would confront him, and they would get into an argument. Hangman would say, "You went to my house," and then Swerve goes, "You burned my house down." And then Hangman would come back and say, "You deserved it." And then Swerve would say, "I know." Or "I know I did," or something like that. And that kind of left Hangman Page baffled, left him speechless, and he walks away. I liked this because it was just like Hangman wasn't expecting it. And maybe the gears are turning in his head of like how he feels about Swerve, admitting that he was in the wrong during that feud.
Do you think that they're going to team up?
Dude, that's what I was thinking, but we'll get to it once we get to Dynasty.
Right.
After all that, let's not jump. I know that's where you're getting to, as well. But as as Hangman walks away, Mox would attack Swerve backstage, throws him through glass, brings him out to the ring with the Deathriders. Claudio would powerbomb him onto shards of glass. And as the Deathriders are walking away, Swerve would power through and get up, show that he can take it, and stares down Mox to end the show. I thought it was a fine episode of Dynamite. For some reason, though, the Hangman stuff with Swerve really, I was like, I like this. I liked Hangman did a good job of reacting to it, I thought. I think I posted it on our story. I'm not sure. Quickly with Collision, Kyle Fletcher and Takeshita would team up and defeat Ishii and Powerhouse Hobbs. Max Caster continue his open challenge with a bet who can survive the best wrestler alive, which I don't think he's won a single one yet. He says he's going to have a match at Dynasty. It'll be the pre-show, and he's going to have an open challenge then. He throws some shade towards his old partner, Anthony Bowens, and Mark Briscoe would accept Max Caster's open challenge in which he would defeat him. Backstage, we had an interview with Adam Cole and Daniel Garcia. Pac would defeat Cash Wheeler. Speedball Mike Bailey would defeat Drolistico, while Ricochet is on commentary. And the main event was Julia Hart teaming up with Athena to defeat Harley Cameron and Mercedes Moné. Let's get into Raw. I'm really excited to talk about this Cody Rhodes and John Cena segment. It was one of the best I've seen in a while. I felt like. Maybe not.
I thought it was good.
I really wish I can quickly scroll through and find some of these quotes from it. Monday. 4 p.m.
Monday. Act now. Act fast. Mattresses on sale now.
Where did I? Oh my God.
Get them while they're hot.
While they're forking hot. Really? I didn't say anything about... Oh, no. Yes, I did. Yeah. Okay. I need to get that ready. Oh, my God. All right. I'm just going to start talking. John Cena would open up the show. I believe John Cena. Yeah, open up the show. Bunch of boos. Keep in mind, I believe at this point they were still in Europe. They're not in Europe anymore. Fans chanting about how much he sucks. Before he could even start talking, Cody Rhodes' music would hit. He joined him in the ring. Cody would run through some of the ways Cena could possibly make fun of him, talking about his lisp, talking about Stardust, his time as that character.
His lisp?
He said, I got a little bit of a lisp.
Is that how he said it?
I'm pretty sure. Cody wanted to know why Cena turned his back on his fans after all these years. And here's some quotes that I texted you. He said, I'm not going to cook you. I'm going to bury you. Just like I've buried everybody else. They've been saying for years that John Cena buries talent. I don't bury talent. I am talent. I bury mediocrity.
Yeah.
How did you feel about some of this?
Very convincing.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing a good job.
The segment would continue, and here I am looking for some
Don't drink the water like this. The water in restaurants will only make you dehydrated. What would you like me to do?
Okay.
Motherfucker can't do nothing in 2025.
Keep in mind, everyone, Tim has like ADHD, so he'll just go off. And now he's talking about a clip he sent me on Instagram that has nothing to do with wrestling. But it's in his head, and he just
They don't want it to be all business, okay? They need a little entertainment, especially without Jeremy here.
I thought this was a good back and forth, though. Another thing that Cena would end up saying to Cody, which was a great line, I make empires for billionaires. All you've ever done is steal money from their kids. How do you feel about that line? Talking about Tony Khan.
They were all good lines.
But Cena was making it seem like part of the reason why he's doing this is that, his chauffeur basically doesn't deserve to be in his spot. Right? Or basically the person that deserves to be in his spot needs to be as good as him, and he doesn't think Cody's that.
Right.
Yeah, very strong opening segment. We had the return of the team New Catch Republic. Tyler Bate had been out for a long time with an injury, so Pete Dunne was kind of just floating around doing matches here or there. But they returned as a full team and in Europe, so they got a good reaction, only to lose to the New Day, who afterwards they said they want a title shot. Gunther would have his match against Jimmy Uso. This was after, I think, the week before, slapping Gunther in the face. After defeating Jimmy, he would attack. Jey Uso would come out. He would zip tie Jey Uso to the ropes to make sure that Jey watches Gunther bloody and brutalize his brother. This would leave Jimmy in a bloody mess afterwards. Penta and Braun Breaker would team up to face Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio. In the end, Finn and Dom were the winners. Dude, I don't know what's going to happen with Finn at Mania or even Braun Breaker. Maybe we get an answer tonight. There's only 2 weeks left to Mania. I thought for so long it was going to be Finn versus Dom.
Yeah, we're almost there.
But now I'm thinking maybe they've announced it. Maybe it's just going to be Penta versus Braun.
Well, I don't get what one has to do with the other, though.
Because both keep going for the IC title, both Finn
yeah.
and Penta. AJ Styles would call out Logan Paul. They would end up having a promo segment in which I believe it was officially made official that it's going to be AJ Styles versus Logan Paul at WrestleMania. Which, didn't we kind of call this when Paul eliminated AJ at the Rumble?
Yeah, it kind of felt like it.
Mm-hmm. You could barely hear Logan Paul talk the entire time. They would end up getting in a fight. Styles had control until Paul used the ring ropes to hit a low blow, and he hit that fucking dope ass finisher, the pulverizer, man.
And AJ's good at taking it.
Yeah. Typical segment to get a match started, but and the crowd was chanting douchebag for quite a while to Logan Paul, which, as we know, he is. Main event was Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky with Bianca Belair as special guest referee for the Women's World Championship. After getting hit separately by first Rhea and then Io Sky, Bianca had enough and would call for the bell. There would be a brawl afterwards in which Rhea is left standing out of the 3 women. I don't think it's officially booked yet, but I still, I believe we're going to get a triple threat match with these 3 women. All right. Anything to add to Raw before we end this SmackDown?
No, not this week. I mean, we're just cruising into.
We are cruising, aren't we? So finally back on
the Mania mode. Can't believe it's been a year.
Since we and you can check out that video of our time at WrestleMania 40.
Yeah, it's
on
still
our
on
YouTube channel.
Yeah, youtube.com /PW fan.
/the PW fan. Back on American soil now. We were in Chicago this week for SmackDown, so of course CM Punk has to open up the show.
Of course.
Good way to get it started. I mean, fans were chanting his name before his music even hit. Soaked up the fans, talked about Chicago being so energetic even after the hot crowds in Europe. He thanked his wife. He got a Larry chant going. He thanked everyone who got him to where he needed to be for the main event of WrestleMania, including the fans of Chicago. If you remember last week, it became official that he was getting his main event. Out came Paul Heyman. He talked up CM Punk for a little while before asking him to, say what the favor is. And Punk said that he'd rather tell it to Paul once Roman is with him in the ring face to face.
And we finally got, we'll get there.
We did get it. Yeah, Tim's jumping the gun. He wants to talk his boy Punk. All right, we got the debut of Rey Fenix, man. Both Rey Fenix and Penta are now in WWE on separate shows. I thought by picking Nathan Fraser, one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions, was a very, very good choice. Nathan Fraser's super talented. He trained at Black and Brave Academy, Seth Rollins Wrestling Academy. He's from Europe, the UK specifically. I can't remember where, but this was a very good match and a strong way for Penta to make his debut, in which he would end up winning. LA Knight would have a match in which he defeated Tama Tonga. And man, maybe it's because I record and I fast forward because I rarely ever watch SmackDown on time. Apparently, they've been showing some teasers for whoever this may be, but this one this week was more in depth than normal. And everyone's saying it's for Aleister Black.
It's got to be him.
So this one showed the number 4, and everyone's like, it's been 4 years since Aleister was in WWE. That's what the 4 is for. But it's too, like, his style of it to not be him.
It's got to be him. They're kind of, like, hinting at it without, like, really saying anything, you know?
And I had said, you know, if he's going to come back, he's going to come to SmackDown because his wife is on SmackDown, too. I'm sure that would be part of him being like, hey, I'll come back. One stipulation, can you put me so I can travel with my wife? You know, remember Zelina recently moved from Raw to SmackDown and left the LWO. Why do that unless you're doing it for, that reason?
No, for sure.
Now I don't know if you saw this full segment or not. I'm sure you saw clips or read about it. This Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton segment.
Yeah, so
I saw it live before they cut everything out online.
So wait, was that not supposed to be in there?
No. There's been tension apparently between them for the past 2 weeks or so. I think it was Tiffany looked at like their last confrontation. Charlotte like kind of buried her, so Tiffany was like, "Fuck this," and Charlotte, for one, Chicago crowd got to Charlotte. I've never seen her I'll say ruffled by the fans and then like booing her and chanting. But it went off script, I would say. In the end, crazy. Tiffany would say something like in the end, you're going to be all alone. Like first she talked about her record being 4-3 at Mania. And then Tiffany said, in the end, you're going to be all alone, just like you always are. What is that now, 0-3? And then she rolled out of the ring, apparently so that it didn't like get more hostile. And Charlotte did not look good in the end. It looked like that person that's just trying to get the last word in. It fell flat, her response. She said, oh, yeah, Tiffany, is that why Kaiser's in my DMs? But it was almost like no one ever even heard it. And yeah, man, it was not good. And then on YouTube they cut out like that part of the segment.
Yeah, so I mean if they cut it out, it obviously wasn't supposed to.
Yeah.
Well,
that's because apparently it's because Tiffany felt disrespected the week before.
So she hit her back.
Yeah, man. She had that shit in the chamber just waiting.
Oh, yeah.
Number 1 contenders match for the tag titles, Machine Gun. I was about to say Machine Gun Kelly. Motor City Machine Guns defeated DIY. So they're now going to face the Street Profits at some point. Naomi would defeat B-Fab. Jade would attack during Naomi's entrance. Nick Aldis would then book Jade versus Naomi for Mania. Apparently, cool statistic, I don't know if you saw this. This is the first women's singles match, not for a title, in like 10 years. Or no, since Mania 2022 or Mania 22. What women's match was at Mania 22? That was 22? Not for a title. WrestleMania 22. Dun, dun, dun.
I have no idea.
Let me see. I guess this counts. Since Tori Wilson versus Candice Michelle in a Playboy pillow fight match.
Oh boy.
Because there was another match on there, and I thought that it was this Mania, but that's just for the title. This is when Mickie James had her first Mania beat Trish after being the crazy fan for the women's championship, though. But there hasn't been, last year we had a women's match, but it was a 6-woman tag match. Naomi, Jade, Bianca against Damage Control. But yeah, this is the first women's singles match since that Playboy pillow fight at Mania.
Yeah, let's move on from that.
Don't want to talk about those dark times in WWE.
Couldn't be more disinterested.
God. All right. Nick Aldis would bring out Kevin Owens, who Kevin Owens would kind of get serious and reveal that he's been dealing with a neck injury the past 4 months and is going to have to step away for. I'll just wait. Hey, Jeremy. He's here. We are just starting the Kevin Owens segment.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah. Well, not nice, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah, so Nick Aldis brings out Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens reveals for the past 4 months he's been dealing with a neck injury. He's going to have to step away to get neck surgery. So therefore, the Randy Orton Kevin Owens match is not happening at Mania. Which, when now you think about it, I've just been seeing this online. Dude, some of the spots he's been doing since, remember Rumble? He did the Alabama Slam through the ladder and was, folded like a fucking lawn chair.
I saw some compilations of them. I was like, oh, I didn't realize he's taking all these.
Yeah. So Randy Orton would come out and, he wouldn't attack him, obviously. He just kind of, stood there.
He just said, get better, didn't he?
Something like that. Kevin Owens was walking by, and you see the stuff with the fan?
Yeah.
I saw the other angle. So they're following Kevin Owens, and you see him whip around and start walking to the fan and be like, was that you? And then it kind of cuts away. But there's a video online from someone sitting right there next to it. So the guy yelled out, and dude, some fans are so disrespectful. He yelled out, "You're full of shit." And Kevin Owens whipped around, dude. It was like, did you say that? He's, and I'm pretty sure he said, you're a bitch, go home.
Wasn't it an older guy too? Like a bald guy?
Yeah. He yelled out, fuck you, on his way out. Same guy would say shit to Braun Strowman on his way out of the match too. And Strowman got pissed.
They're like, it's all part of the show.
God, dude. I'm just yeah, there's been a lot of things, but I don't think, considering all the people that have been seriously hurt in recent years, like Big E and stuff with neck injuries, I don't think they're doing that necessarily.
Especially when it's a real moment too. That's a horrible thing to do.
Yeah. But Randy Orton would end up RKOing Nick Aldis. Back in 2023, Randy Orton RKO'd Nick Aldis, and he was fined $50,000. Orton on TV wrote him a check for $100,000, and Nick Aldis said, "What's this for?" And he said, "It's for next time." Well, Randy cashed in on that next time 2 years later. Long-term storytelling, guys.
People were thinking this was going to lead to a match or something for them at Mania.
Dude, I'm hoping. So that gets me to my next point. It's do they do a match with Nick Aldis and Randy? Or do they do kind of a what Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins did, where its mystery opponent ends up being Aleister Black?
I'm hoping for Aleister Black because I'm just biased in that way. I love that guy.
Randy can afford to lose to Aleister.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah. He's fucking Randy.
But do you think he was losing anyways? I know.
I think he was going to beat Kevin Owens, but that's what I think. But I don't know, man. I still think they should do a match with Randy on the card. Nick Aldis, I'd like to see. Nick Aldis is not even 40, I don't think.
I thought he was 40, early 40s or no?
Nick Aldis.
You're going to look it up now?
38.
38. Wow.
I know, you don't look it. You don't look 38.
No, he does not.
That's only 4 years older than me.
I know.
Tim's like, oh, God.
Jacob Fatu would defeat Braun Strowman in a last man standing match to earn his number one contender shot for the LA Knight at Mania. So it's going to be Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight for the U.S. title at Mania. I did not see this coming. I thought it was going to be Solo. I'm going to call it now. Solo interferes in the match and costs Jacob Fatu.
And then at Backlash, it's Fatu and Solo.
Yeah. Just do it. Yeah. So on Braun Strowman's way out of the ring, he's limping up the ramp. It's commercial break, and the fan said some other shit. And Strowman stops selling his limp and fucking walks over to the guy and yells at him.
You know what's bad when you
Fucking
stop selling it. And he's like, all right, fuck this
dude.
guy.
It's like, fuck this dude, man.
That's terrifying. I would not want that dude coming at me.
What, Braun Strowman?
Hell no.
No, not at all.
It's gigantic.
All right, let's talk about the ending of this show. Tribal Chief would come to the ring to close the show in order to see what Punk's favor from Heyman's going to be. Rollins would show up first. This would make Reigns mad before Punk even showed up. When Punk did come out, he would he talked about Paul and their whole thing back in the day of like Paul fighting for him, and said he would be there in his corner when that clip's going around again right now. Paul still has the ponytail, and he says he's gonna walk down that ramp with him at Mania. And so Punk says that the favor is that Heyman is gonna be in his corner at Mania, and Roman kind of shakes it off and is just like, he loves me, right?
He loves me.
And dude, Heyman is such like a good actor with this shit. Somehow makes himself like tear up, and he's
an amazing actor.
He's like, tell him no, and he's just like, I can't.
That's crazy. Like how Paul Heyman like all of a sudden is like
he's a very important piece to all this. He makes it like way better.
And Rollins is there laughing in the corner, and he's like, I told you. And then CM Punk would kill Roman Reigns. The way Roman folded with that GTS, dude.
I know. I've seen people say
today, and it's like Peter Griffin all mangled on the.
People have said like that's the best someone's taken a GTS ever.
It was great. I loved it. And
I saw that meme that was like, I'll never forgive them for making my boy do the Peter Griffin.
Yeah, I put it on our Instagram. He had literally arms folded like behind the back.
The interesting thing I've seen about Reigns is that this is like the second huge betrayal for him, and he's never the one who actually does it. It's Seth Rollins, and now Paul Heyman's basically turned on him, or not like turned, but like his trust is gone, and Reigns has never done that.
Well, now I'm also seeing a video of. Do you remember one of the press conferences? Roman was like, once Heyman's not with him anymore, he's like, I'm gone.
Yeah. I think the Tribal Chief character is going to be gone pretty soon.
Or is it going to be like an attraction where you just come in and out, like Brock, that Brock schedule?
If Brock comes back, that's when it's crazy.
Dude, triple threat, Brock, Roman, Punk, Paul Heyman, and a shark cage match.
Yeah. Custody,
Paul Heyman.
They're definitely going to do a custody of Paul Heyman match.
Did Punk call Heyman his advocate when they were together?
No, they were like best friends, weren't they? Like they would say my best friend.
Called each other best friends the whole time.
Yeah.
So it's best friend, advocate, and wise man.
Well, just wise man, right?
Well, Brock is advocate, right?
Oh yeah, advocate and wise man, and then best friend. Yeah,
best friend. Okay. So that would wrap up SmackDown. We got 2 weeks left to Mania. Next week we're going to be talking about the predictions. But let's get into Dynasty. Jared, did you watch?
I watched most of it.
Did you watch the end?
Yes.
I watched.
As a whole, before we get into it.
It was just meh.
They broke their streak in a bad way.
Yeah, it was just
Yeah, I'm taking it easy on them. I'm not going to beat up on them.
Yeah,
I'm not going to kick a man when they're down.
Booker Andy has some different booking decisions he would have done.
I don't know. They kind of did that to him, or one man did that to himself for the decision that he did at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Well, there's also the Booker that I had a problem with how he booked the ending.
Yeah, I guess so too. Yeah.
All right. Pre-show was Nick Wayne and CRU defeating AR Fox and Top Flight. Then we had Max Caster's Open Challenge, which I really thought it was going to be this, and it was. It was the return of Anthony Bowens. Sucks that it was on the pre-show, but Anthony Bowens is now a single star. He came out with Billy Gunn and new gear, new music, basically everything that John Cena should have came back with. His match should have probably been longer, but he returns and defeats Max Caster. So fans were happy. The first match of this show was like one of the best matches on the show.
Yeah.
And I knew it would be because I've been watching Kevin Knight these past few weeks. And yeah, so it was a men's Owen Hart tournament quarterfinal. Will Ospreay versus Kevin Knight. This opening match was very, very good wrestling wise. It's a tournament, so there's no like story, behind it, but like respect. What you all think of this match? Will Ospreay would end up winning.
No, this was match of the night for me, I thought. Which I thought it would be anyways too, because I feel like also Will Ospreay is on a different level where he can actually be good enough in the ring to not have to have like always a story for himself.
Most of the pay-per-view so far lately, his matches to me have been match of the night.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you get? Match. Yeah, I wasn't sure when you guys started it or which ones you guys got to see, so I did watch as much as this one as I can. We had the AEW World Tag Team Championship, Hurt Syndicate versus the Learning Tree, Big Bill and Brian Keith. MJF would pop up from behind the barricade he would quickly attack Big Bill, which would help the Hurt Syndicate get the win. We'll see how Bobby and Shelton react to this. I know MVP still wants MJF in the Hurt Syndicate.
The Hurt Syndicate are kind of like slowly doing better for me, but they're still like it's still a very slow.
Yeah, we were talking about them at the beginning of the show and how they're one of the better gimmicks we feel right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Women's Owen Hart Foundation Tournament quarterfinal: Mercedes Moné versus Julia Hart. Winner was Mercedes Moné. I think we have another Owen Hart.
She doesn't get much of any reaction anymore.
No, man, I don't know what they're.
She loves dancing to that music though. She was like,
hate it, dude. I hate
getting
it.
sensual out there with it last night. I was like, good lord.
Getting what?
Sensual.
The AEW World Trios Tag Team Championships, Deathriders, Claudio, Pac, and Wheeler Yuta versus Rated FTR, Cope, Dax, and Cash. Winners were Deathriders. I saw part of this coming, but not the whole thing. So I did think Dax was going to attack afterwards, which he did. He did pile driver. Enough with the pile drivers, guys. He did pile driver, and then he said...
You don't like a good driver?
Not that way. Not the Owen Hart to Stone Cold way.
Yeah, not that way.
I don't like that. Yeah, not that way.
But then Dax would set Cope up for a concerto, and he would hand Cash the chair, in which he would throw it down, pick Cope up, and then all of a sudden it would pop into a shatter machine, and both men turned on him. Did they end up hitting the concerto? I can't remember. I know they kept beating him up, but I don't remember what else they did to him. They didn't move on to the chair, actually. Maybe another pile driver.
Yeah, I don't think they did the concerto.
So FTR has gone heel, and they took out Cope for another short amount of time.
But also by the end of the show, what top baby faces do they even have?
I don't know.
To like make enough people to then go against Deathriders.
I don't know. Fuck it. They're doing it to themselves, all right?
I know. I'm just like, who would actually go against them now? They only got like a few people, I feel like.
Well, they've had people go against them, and they keep fucking losing. Jay White, Adam Page, fucking.
But I mean, like, we'll talk more about the end because of the end of it. But like, they're all gonna have a bunch of individual people going against them as a team, which feels weird to me all the time.
I'm thinking, what does the FTR as a group attacking Cope do? What's he gonna come back and go after two people? Is he gonna have a tag partner?
I don't know.
He'd have to team with Christian at some point if you want to do FTR versus.
That'd be the only thing, but like,
cool. But how do you get there?
Exactly. How do you get there? Because they've been so far apart.
I don't know. AEW Women's World Championship, Toni Storm versus Megan Bayne. How do you guys feel about Megan Bayne?
There's room for improvement. She could be good though.
I'm just like, she's supposed to be like this like monster character, and I'm just like, yeah.
We'll see. Well, give her some time. You never know.
We'll see.
Look at me being all optimistic, Tim.
This next match was pretty good. Men's Owen Hart Foundation tournament quarterfinal. Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe.
Kyle Fletcher
Fletcher
has been so much better, I feel like.
Yeah, he's great, man. I like Kyle Fletcher a lot. Couldn't wait for this match to get over. Title versus mass match for ROH World Championship. Chris Jericho versus Bandito. Just can't stand to watch Jericho wrestle anymore. Jericho would end up using a bat. Winner was Chris Jericho. Bandito's family shows Aubrey where the bat is, who shows it to Bryce. Bryce restarts the match, and with a distraction from Bandito's family, Bandito would end up winning. So no longer the Nueve ROH champion. Bandito, who I believe Jericho even won it from in the first place, is now champion.
Well, you know he's going to be Diaz next.
Eventually.
The Nueve. I forgot about that.
TNT.
Remember that Ocho was the best.
Yeah, the Ocho is the best.
The Ocho. Nueve is just like, all right. At least he didn't have to be like the Siete.
Yeah.
Stupid. TNT Championship.
Don't put it past him.
TNT Championship, Daniel Garcia versus Adam Cole. This match was like 15 minutes long. There was a lot of false finishes, but I was happy. Finally, Adam Cole wins a fucking championship, singles championship in AEW.
I feel like this is his last chance because no one ever would care about him again. It's hard to anyways now.
So happy for Adam Cole, even though it feels like Daniel Garcia's run wasn't very long.
He didn't really do much either for the title.
I think he had more like TV matches than pay-per-view matches, and half of them were against Adam Cole for the title.
Yeah, sure.
All right, I'm iffy on this match. AEW International Championship 3-way match: Kenny Omega, Ricochet, and Speedball Mike Bailey. I thought it went too long.
Too long.
The Kenny Omega match. I just thought it went too long.
Well, and by then there had to have been a lot going on.
Had you seen Speedball before, Tim?
I hadn't. No.
How do you? Well, I know you don't like guys that don't wear shoes.
It bothers me, dude.
Yeah.
You see their toes. Their dogs are out.
Dude, don't put your dogs away, all right?
Ricochet's very hateable.
I feel like he always has been.
Andy's like, I really hate him.
He's like, you know what? Fuck Ricochet.
There was some really cool spots. I just thought like there was so many false finishes again, and it's just like eventually I'm just like, just fucking end it.
You're like,
it might have been the longest match on the show.
Really?
I think so.
Huh. I mean that would make it. That would explain why it's too long then, because it shouldn't have been the longest match.
Yeah. I mean, the main event was like half an hour, but Kenny Omega would end up retaining the title. And when he's sitting in the ring, Okada's music would hit, which they had teased reigniting this rivalry. And I'm pretty sure I read they're going to combine the Continental Championship and International. So Okada's the Continental Champion, Kenny's the International. Assume that at Double or Nothing, or no, All In would be a place to combine those championships and have a Kenny versus Okada match.
Have they had one? They've had one in AEW or no?
I don't think in one-on-one yet.
Oh, right, because Kenny's been out, so yeah.
Yeah. So I see that coming down the pipeline. All right, let's get to the main event. God damn it. I fucking hate Jon Moxley. AEW World Championship, Jon Moxley versus Swerve Strickland. Before we get to the ending, the match itself, why did I think it was going to be a death match?
Because it's Jon Moxley.
But I thought they like teased that stuff. They definitely talked in their promos about death matches. Maybe that's why.
They did.
Well, Swerve said the thing about like something you've been in death match. I've won them basically.
Mm-hmm. It felt like Moxley was dominating kind of most of it. Swerve would end up bleeding. I don't think Mox really bled, did he? For once.
No, which is a surprise.
Yeah. Swerve did the stomp off of the ladder through the announce table to Mox. That was a cool spot.
But a buddy of mine was front row for that. Took a
was
video.
he? They were in Philly, right? That makes sense. And this is where Booker Andy comes in. All right. Hangman comes out, and it looks like he's about to do a buckshot lariat to Swerve, and then he looks over at Moxley. I'm kind of liking Hangman lately, and I didn't think I'd ever say that, but I'm kind of liking him lately.
I'm feeling it.
And he's about to do it to Moxley, it looks like, and then Pat comes up. And Deathriders come out there. The Ops come out there. Hangman ends up hitting the Deadeye on Moxley, and that's when I think the match should have ended. You have Hangman be like, you know what, I'm siding with Swerve. Hit this on Moxley, help out Swerve. People don't really see it coming. Swerve wins.
Yeah, because
that's not what fucking happened.
Because remember on Wednesday, Swerve admitted like when they were yelling at each other, Swerve and Hangman, he's like,
yeah, we
deserve
talked about that earlier.
I know, so it's kind of like they like came to terms.
Hangman was left like speechless. So I was like, oh, that would have been a good time to like fucking end the match.
Yeah, exactly.
He helps him out. It's like when Goldberg speared Brock and Eddie Guerrero was able to get the win, which Tim posted today.
I just posted that.
Yeah.
Goldberg.
So it looks like I think it looked like Swerve was about to maybe win, and the lights go black. And Tim texted me like, "Womp womp."
I was like, "Womp womp," dude. I was like, "Why? It makes no sense."
So the Bucks end up showing up, and they have Swerve ready for an EVP trigger, which they hit, give Mox the win. All right, this is my problem with it. Besides, like it falling flat, and the fans were pissed, dude. They were not happy with Moxley winning. I think they all are like me, like, fuck Moxley being the champion. This shit sucks.
Dude, everyone's so tired of that storyline.
The thing is, last time we saw the Bucks, they were getting chased out of the arena, running to the car and leaving Brandon Cutler behind.
Yeah, by the Deathriders, right?
Yeah. And then we haven't seen them since, so they were scared of them, and now they're like, oh, we're gonna do this and join fucking Moxley, or what are you doing? I don't know, man.
Or they say like it's all part of their plan, where like they just made it seem like that and those things.
Yeah. So people weren't already happy with the way Tony Khan booked it, and then we won't go too much into it. But when it went off the air, apparently, there's been some beef with Booker T and Swerve lately, talking about black champions and how WWE treats black wrestlers compared to AEW, and
God.
Booker T more just made a statement about it and was kind of like confused of like, why is Swerve saying this kind of thing?
At that point, like that should have been it. Like Swerve shouldn't have said anything more.
Yeah, well, Swerve got on the mic when this thing went up there, and all he said was "fuck Booker T."
No,
and that's why. And then after that got like known, people were commenting on fucking. I sent all those tweets, and I'll read some of them. I ain't gonna read all of them. There's some parts in there I'm like, I ain't fucking reading that.
Only read the semi-tame ones. Don't.
Yeah, Andy, the easy.
There's some I'm not allowed to read. So it's a picture of Swerve in his Static Shock costume. It said Booker T all in your head losing the match, and he's the first you think of. Laughing face.
All right, that's tame.
You lost to John Moxley.
All right, that's tame.
The aura is dead. The wrong Booker got called out last night.
All right, yeah.
Want to be Booker T. You're worried about the wrong Booker. That's not it, my guy. Booker T, not your enemy. This one talks about black representation. Not going to talk about that. Someone saying that he doesn't deserve to wear the Black Panther and Static Shock. They'd be ashamed for him to rep those kind of outfits. It says, your real life attitude and entitlement is a disappointment.
All right, we get it.
That was some corny ass shit you said to Booker T. You lost and still called out Booker T, who's built a platform for men like yourself, dude.
All right, so
the backlash from his own community, that's the whole thing, was like not.
It was like, so people were mad.
They weren't happy about it.
And so,
But the overall end to the pay-per-view, I'll say, does not make me like. Usually, you know how like after AEW pay-per-views, we're like, all right, now they have a chance to capitalize on whatever. At the end of this one, I was like, I don't care.
Jeremy has turned to the dark side.
I'm just like, what is the point anymore?
Makes me think of this. There was this thing where Kevin Nash said that in WCW, people were like, why didn't you care? And he's like, because you can only be in a meeting so many times when somebody has a bad idea and you say, yeah, but, and then you just realize you're like, fuck it.
Yeah. I mean, like, once this Deathriders thing is done, I don't know. But, like, for now, it's just, I can't do it.
I saw something and it was like, I think it was someone's comment or something, but I think it was after his pay-per-view and they were like, you know what? Maybe Punk wasn't such a bad fight.
Yeah, maybe he was all right.
Maybe I was wrong about CM Punk.
Oh gosh,
it's like I can relate more and more whenever like you see stuff like about Punk and AEW because I'm like, yeah, I would like. I've been in those toxic environments,
back
and you're like,
WWE, dude.
I'm just done.
I'm just done. Oh shit!
Dude, AEW was my favorite thing at one point.
The first like 3 years was like it felt crazy, like amazing.
Yeah. When Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson and Punk all showed up. It was crazy.
Yeah, that night, like, I mean, I don't know if there was another ending to a pay-per-view that can top that feeling.
We used to say, "Thank you, Jack Perry," for
yeah,
CM Punk back.
All because of that little thing.
Real glass.
Tony's a nice guy.
But we also would have to thank AEW because now we have this match with CM Punk.
Well, without AEW, Punk doesn't come back to wrestling.
Yeah, they brought Punk back.
Exactly. So there's always that part of me who's like, all right, they're not horrible.
They've done some good stuff.
All right, Tim, take us out.
Well, guys, this was episode 169. I don't have a classic show of the week. Do you guys have any recommendations for the people? Anything on top of the dome?
Watch Dynasty and make your own opinion if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Also,
Dynasty back.
Also, on WWE's YouTube, I think it's like their Vault channel. They're 24/7 streaming the best WrestleMania matches right now until WrestleMania.
They're doing that thing again.
Yeah,
they did that. They've done it in the past.
I have to watch that.
It's just on repeat. It's just like continuous.
Yeah, it's always streaming whenever I check it. Yeah.
I need to watch Raw. So, all right.
Well, everybody have a good week. Thank you for catching up with us. It was good for all three of us to be back with you all. Don't forget to follow us on those socials. Don't forget to go subscribe to that YouTube channel. Don't forget, this is the best podcast ever. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good week, everybody.
Goodbye, my friend. You have been the one for